Welcome everyone to this brand new edition of 5RoundMMA. My name is Alex Ramirez, alongside my co-host Albert Sita. Albert, man, what a weekend! How you feeling? Are you recovered from this amazing weekend?
No, dude. I'm just glad that I got to work from home today because it would have been a drag at the office. Because man, I was on a 2-day high there.
What a weekend for MMA fans. What a weekend for professional wrestling fans. And how lucky for us, Albert, that we're both MMA fans and professional wrestling fans. A lot to do this weekend. A lot to talk about today's show. Action-packed. UFC 261. Crowds are back in attendance. Titles changed hands. Knockouts happened. Broken legs were suffered. Impact Rebellion. A new champion is crowned there. History, it could be in the making for professional wrestling. Just so much to talk about, man. It's going to be an exciting show for you today. I want to thank everybody for listening. If you're watch us on YouTube, if you're listening to us on the audio version, Apple Podcasts, Podomatic, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts at, super appreciate you guys tuning in here. Albert, man, lots to talk about here. But before we get started on that one, Mortal Kombat dropped this weekend too as well. Much anticipated, kind of a newer version, a grittier version. Did you check it out? What do you think of it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's because I missed the theater so much. I actually waited until midnight so I can catch like a midnight showing. But I guess there's like a glitch on HBO and I couldn't do it. It just wouldn't pop up on me.
Okay.
I don't know if I was the only one that had that issue, but so I just watched it early in the morning. I liked it. I mean, I think it is what it is. I mean, I wasn't checking it out because I was going to see a very in-depth story. My only, we talked before we started this podcast, my only big pet peeve is the main character. I don't understand why they had to introduce a new character. There's plenty of characters in Mortal Kombat. If you didn't want to do Liu Kang, there's plenty of other characters I think they could have used. But, I mean, at the end of the day, they had good action. They had good fight sequences, and the characters look like the game,
Which is
and so I'm mad about it.
Everybody wants that, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants comic accurate or game accurate representation.
And shout out to what was it, Cobalt? Man, what an underrated.
Cobalt, yeah.
That's an underrated character right there. So I'm glad they used him.
Yeah, I was confused as what the powers were. The main protagonist, like the more he got beat up, the deadlier he got, and he could just manifest weapons from his body.
You know what?
I don't know.
Legit, the first thing that came to mind was all like he absorbs it and then he gives it back.
Yeah.
But then it didn't really seem that way on some of the fight interactions.
And they kind of made me, if this is supposed to be like based on the, like if he were playable in the video game, how would that work? Just block the whole time and then try and. But what if?
Yeah, that's a cheat character, bro.
What if the person you're fighting blocks your attack and then not very video game friendly?
Yeah. Again, that's why they should have just used one of the thousands of characters they already got in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be more sequels in the works.
And was that Reptile?
Yes, it was supposed to be Reptile.
Okay.
Yeah. I am a bigger Street Fighter fan than Mortal Kombat.
No, yeah, same here.
So I like the folklore and the mythology of, I guess you call it that, of Street Fighter than Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat's always cool, but I was a Street Fighter fan growing up. Hopefully, maybe this will get the people going for a Street Fighter accurate representation now. I'm hoping maybe they do Street Fighter, they can do it like as a series, not as a movie, because there's a lot to cram in. And I feel people kind of cram in for the Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Like a lot of folklore to kind of cram in a 2-hour movie. Do a series. Play it out.
Game of Thrones it.
Character development. I like it. Come on. All right. So, you know what? We got a lot to talk about. Let's start UFC 261. Started round number 1. Let me get my timer started here. Hold on. Forget my passcode for my phone here. Stopwatch. Round 1 started. Now, UFC 261 this past Saturday live. People in attendance, a full capacity crowd almost. Jacksonville, Florida. Scroll down, Albert. Let's get started. A lot to talk about. 3 titles on the line.
All right, so are we saying the main card? Or
main card here, man. Too much to talk about here.
All right, so Anthony Smith and Jim were the ones that started off, and a little foreshadow coming.
Yeah, Anthony Smith wins the doctor stoppage. He basically kicks his opponent's leg out from underneath him. Big win for Anthony Smith, or we kind of talked about last week how maybe he showed everything he had against John Jones and wasn't really the same type of fighter, or he is exactly what people thought he was, kind of the middle of the division type fighter, a gatekeeper's most, probably won't get another title shot again anytime soon.
Yeah, so like a win's a win.
Yeah.
Right? He's on his he's not on his way out because he got a W. But despite that, I still wasn't impressed by his performance. I wasn't like odd. I wasn't like, dude, you know what? Anthony Smith just showed the haters that he's still in the game.
Get Glover Teixeira out of there.
I think if anything, he kind of fed the haters just a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see him as a top contender. I think he still is in that gatekeeper role right now. So
no, I agree. I mean, nothing more we can say on that one. Next fight.
Oh, the
Uriah
first
Hall.
guy ever to win without throwing a strike.
That's the ultimate right there.
That's mind blowing.
Uriah Hall versus Chris Weidman.
We've seen all the memes already. Karma comes up a lot, but the best one I saw was where it shows like, you know, this is how it started, and it shows Chris Weidman beating Anderson Silva via his leg breaking.
Yeah.
And then it's all like, this is how it ended. I was like, dang.
For all you fight fans who, or maybe wrestling fans who are watching this now.
And then just to give the lore, like 30 years from now when they talk about this crazy incident, just to add to it, you know, Uriah Hall, the last guy to beat Anderson Silva, does this to the last guy.
The first guy to beat
Anderson Silva. So that's
so
crazy.
Let me kind of catch up everybody who maybe they didn't see what happened. Long time ago, it was a rematch, right, between Chris Weidman and Anderson Silva. After people called it a fluke when Chris Weidman beat Anderson Silva, they ran it back, rightfully so. Anderson Silva lands a calf kick to Chris Weidman, snaps his leg in half, and that's a fight, right? Anderson Silva's never been the same ever since then, right? Yeah. Flashback, how many years? Fast forward this many years later, Chris Weidman versus Uriah Hall, middleweight matchup. 17 seconds into the fight, Chris Weidman goes for a calf kick on Uriah Hall, snaps his leg in half, the exact same injury Anderson Silva suffered to him. He suffered to Uriah Hall. I mean, you can't even write. If you were to put that in a movie, you wouldn't believe it, right?
Nah.
People were saying karma, but man, it's not what it is. It's not karma. It's just the MMA is a cruel game.
It really is.
She is not forgiving of anything like that. You fight long enough, things happen. Like you said, Uriah Hall was the last person to beat Anderson Silva in the UFC. Chris Weidman was the first person to beat him in the UFC. I mean, all these coincidences, just weird things happen.
And it's funny you bring that up.
Unbelievable.
Because right now, Uriah Hall. Right now, Usman is chasing the Spider's winning streak, right? Just if you guys were to just think about that, so if Anderson Silva would retired on that last fight when he got the winning streak, there would be no debate of who the GOAT is. Nobody would even come close, right? And because he kept on going, ended up the way it ended up. And it's like you said, it's just crazy how like with MMA, it's like maybe Khabib's right, and you just gotta stop while you still got it.
Yeah. Now this fight was maybe for like relevancy, right?
Yeah.
Uriah Hall has to fight somebody now to prove that he's still active.
Honestly, I think this fight was loser leave match.
Yeah.
I honestly do think that's what it was.
Real quick, women's flyweight title, about the first title. Valentina Shevchenko makes it look easy against Jessica Andrade.
Too easy.
She's a former champion, by the way, too. A lower weight class, but she moved up, got herself a title shot, and Valentina Shevchenko makes it look easy. Now the UFC is doing these things now where they're trying to like, have you seen that? They're like giving a ruby for each title defense they have.
Oh, okay.
So like the first one to 8, I guess, and she's already halfway there with like 5 title defenses already.
Honestly, Philip 7, and then face Amanda Nunes on the 8th, dog.
Right? I mean, she's pound for pound one of the best fighters on the planet.
For sure, the best flyweight of all time right now.
Relative new division, but still, it's kind of hard to stop. I mean, do you see anybody in the currently outside of the organization?
It's funny. They legit were like asking her like who she wants over, and I think she legit like doesn't know how to answer that because legit I don't think there's anybody
who can.
Yeah.
So they're gonna UFC's gonna have somebody creative, unless they want to keep throwing her as a co-main event or cards like this where there's 3 title fights and they just kind of throw her in there to say they have another title fight on there, because at this point, pick your sacrifice, right? What do you want it to be? That's it for round number 1. We're going to come back and continue with UFC 261, recap and reactions with the co-main event and main event and the fallout from both those fights. A lot to talk about. Don't go anywhere. Come up next.
5RoundMMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number 2. Our conversation on UFC 261 continues with the co-main event and main event. Main event, Shang Wei,
wow.
Your Rose Namajunas recaptures the strawweight champ. I didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming in the first round.
Not like that.
Within 2 minutes, with the knockout, I did not see it coming. Rose Namajunas reclaims the strawweight championship. She kept saying, "I'm the best. I'm the best."
She's the best.
She proved it. She's the best. DC said it most during his podcast with Erhwani, that Rose is so relatable because she is a badass, but also she's not afraid to show her emotion in the octagon.
Yeah.
Right? Her self-doubt, I'm the best, words of affirmation that's really bigger now, crying because she's so emotional after it.
She had Joe Rogan crying up there.
So obviously she's been there for so long that people I think kind of take her for granted, her story a little bit. One of those, we've seen her grow up in the octagon.
Yeah.
Not too many fighters we get to see that. And she still has a lot long to go. She might lose it again. She might regain it again. So she has a long way to go. Just kind of quick, your thoughts and reactions to her reclaiming the strawweight title.
I mean, I think it was just super impressive. I think it was a very big win for her. Like, as I'm talking about personally, I think this one she really, really wanted. I think the other, even when she won the first championship, I'm pretty sure she wanted it. But like, I think this one right here meant the most, and you can tell. It's funny, as soon as she won it, I think it was a no-brainer. You have Jessica Andrade
go back down.
Yeah,
and also for Shang, I mean, she's not going anywhere either. That's the scary part about the strawweight division.
And you know what? They might just run it back, just because she was such a dominant position at the time that she was already saying that she thought it got stopped too early. Which I mean I don't know how you could say that. Maybe she saw the fight differently in her head, but yeah, she said it got stopped early. But you can always do the narrative that she can say, like, you know what, she caught me off guard.
And you also got, I know that she lost twice already. You got Joanna Jędrzejczyk in the wings too.
I don't think she's in the wings, bro.
You got to give her the benefit of the doubt, though.
Bro.
They're probably the best strawweight of all time.
She has to be at least two girls to get back in the mix.
Give her one more.
I don't know, bro.
Jorge Masvidal gets put to sleep by Kamaru Usman.
Yeah, he says someone's gonna get baptized, and someone did. Only it was him, bro.
Probably one of the nastiest knockouts, I think.
Yeah,
second to only Hendo's H-bomb, Michael Bisping, I think, right?
Yeah, dude. I mean, when you watch the replay,
and Francis Ngannou's uppercut.
Yeah,
Top three for sure.
Dude, he put everything into. I mean, he put whatever pound he had in his body into that one punch. I mean, and like, it's crazy because between the rounds, I saw the corner really drenching Jorge Masvidal. And I was like, man, look at him already cheating, bro.
Yeah, getting slippery.
Getting kind of slick. And in hindsight, what a good idea to make the knockout look better. Yeah. So what made the knockout look even like cooler and
all those
like
droplets of water.
Just spring, and because they were all trapped in his hair, because they're literally pouring like water all over him. So it gave the beautiful photo finish.
Yeah. I'm glad now, because now hopefully we can put to rest this talk of Masvidal being one of the best fighters in the world. Again, we talked about last week, there's a difference between the badass and a world champion. He's never been that type of material. Kind of like Cowboys throwing it, right?
Yeah.
Badass dude, fight, beat it. Most people on the planet, but when it comes to that top tier, that 1%,
they just
there's not it.
Yeah.
He's still a star power. They're still going to promote him. They're still going to give him that BMF title.
Yeah, there's still fights to be made. There's rematches.
Masvidal, like McGregor, like Diaz, they're a product of the UFC having so many cards that they have to have stars like this to be able to main event a fight night, main event a pay-per-view, even though there's not a title on the line. That if the UFC was doing one or two pay-per-views, or one a month like they used to do, Masvidal's not even relevant, right?
Yeah, 100%. The other thing I like about this more is we not only do we get the Kobe Covington rematch
with Kamaru. That's the next. We haven't talked about Kamaru Usman yet.
Yeah,
pound for pound best in the world.
Oh no, yeah, dude. Let me be the first one to put some respect on his name, dog. You
might hear this podcast.
Yeah, my Usman, you got nothing but respect, my brother. I can't say one ill thing about you anymore, bro. You shut me up real good. I'll tell you that right now. But there is some cool matchups. I still want to see Wonder Boy go at it with Usman, just because I think he's never faced someone in the welterweight division like that. And you know how they say styles make fights. And I feel like that's a good matchup there. Obviously, Kobe's probably going to be the guy to run it back. I want to see that matchup again, just because, again, I mean, Usman got something about respect, but let's keep it real. He faked a groin kick that was not there.
So you got Kobe coming to next,
and that kind of changed the dynamic of the fight a little bit.
Yeah, I think with Usman, he's right on the heels of GSP. I'm not gonna say he's there yet, but he's doing it in more spectacular fashion.
Yeah.
GSP was obviously 5-round, 25-minute guy. I'm gonna put no doubt in the judge's mind or the crowd's mind that I won this fight. Usman's finishing people, and if he keeps doing that, he's gonna be passing up GSP for the greatest welterweight of all time. Real quick for Jorge Masvidal, he's saying he wants Nick Diaz. He called him out now, saying, "Oh, I heard Nick didn't like what I do to his brother. Let's run it back at the end of the year." Nick Diaz was in attendance on Saturday night. They made a point to showcase him.
Yeah.
Dana White said he wants to fight. You can't give Nick Diaz a title fight or anybody in the top contention right away.
I mean, not with that big layoff. And look, I'm not a big fan of this match, but the only thing that I like is Nick Diaz is more of a welterweight than Nate. So when Nick fought Jorge Masvidal, yeah, he has had matches at 170, but most of his success is at the lightweight division. So with that said, it makes more sense to run it with his brother Nick,
the big brother.
Yeah, the big brother who has spent most of his career at welterweight.
Got it. Or they could, if Masvidal's too lazy, run it back at middleweight.
Yeah.
Or do it at middleweight. They both want to cut weight. So we'll see. That's it for round number 2. UFC 261, crowds in attendance. Crowd was awesome. Chants were there. You can tell for the fighters, they loved it. They fed off, especially after the knockouts for all 3 of them, for all 3 title fights. Woo! All 3 finishes, they fed off the crowd. Great to see crowds in attendance. On to the next one now. That's it for round number 2. We're going to switch gears, talk about professional wrestling. History was made on Sunday night at Impact Rebellion. We'll talk all about it coming up next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number 3 here. The other big event this weekend for wrestling fans was Impact Rebellion pay-per-view, headline between then Impact World Champion Rich Swann against AEW World Champion and AAA World Champion or Mega Champion Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega was on his quest to basically win every major title outside of WWE, right?
Yeah.
This is a big thing. He
Huge
succeeds.
thing.
He succeeds in it. A lot of other cards, a lot of other bouts or matches on this card here, this event, but we got to talk about the main event first.
Yeah, of course.
Kenny Omega, your thoughts real quick.
Well, you could go to FiveRoundMMA's social media handle and see my reaction. I was on cloud 9, bro. It was history being made in wrestling, which I always love to be a part of. The best way I can,
a big part of it, yeah, right.
I was there. That's being part of it. But what I like is I told you, look, I think our generation's very spoiled. We were able to catch Michael Jordan in his prime and get that 6th ring. We were able to see Kobe Bryant win 5 rings, and now we get to see Kenny Omega about to do something that I don't think will be done anytime soon.
We're going to talk about that later on. We're going to go more in depth in our championship rounds about what's going to happen. The aftermath of it all.
Yeah, and that's just where I'm trying to put this in perspective for someone that doesn't watch wrestling. But awesome match.
Your Dave Meltzer 5-star rating?
I'll give it a 4.2.
I give it a 4.
A 4, solid 4.
Rich Swann could have been better, I think.
Yeah.
I think he was okay, but I think Rich Swann, he maybe a little sour maybe that he was dropping the belt. I don't know. I could kind of see he wasn't as good as he could have been.
Yeah.
I agree. We'll talk more about what this means significantly for the business, as you like to say. Real quick too, other matches on this card. Finn Juice retains against the Good Brothers. They're still the Impact.
That was a surprise to me. That means there's some more little storyline to be played out there, I think, and that's why it was done.
I think it also helps Impact because it keeps the Impact titles relevant in Japan.
Yeah, and what I was gonna say was actually what would make it a lot more bigger is if you got Gorilla winning the Impact Championships off of Finn and Juice.
The Gorillas of Destiny.
Yeah.
You just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And then they pretty much cut the promo of, hey, Carl Machine Gun, we did something you couldn't. You know,
You just blew my mind with that one.
That's
Booking 101. If Tony Khan has listened to that, or Gato and New Japan, book it. Even Scott D'Amore and Don Callis, have a meeting of the minds. That's what you need to have here. Wow, I like it. Okay, I just lost my train of thought. So I am a big mark for the God, Girls of Destiny.
Oh,
Tama Tonga,
dude.
I love that.
I don't know how you not
OG Bullet
dig
Club.
Tama Tonga, bro.
Okay, we'll talk about that. Another big debut of the day was former Kaz from WWE, now former Kaz XL, debuts in the Violent by Design and 6-man tag. He's now go by W Morrissey.
Yeah.
Not sure what that means, but
awesome return. The guy looked like $1 million. But dude, change the name. This is the only time I wish they really had like a true creative, because like, how did that get passed? That more like, bro,
I'll call you W Morrissey.
What was wrong with Kaz XL, bro, or just XL? You know, he's a big dude. I really hope they change the name. But other than that, the guy looked like $1 million physically and wrestling wise. I was legit surprised. So in today's day and age of wrestling, where it's really hard to get those surprises in, I was legit surprised. I totally forgot that he was up on
Even out there. Yeah. I think it's a good move for him to go and kind of prove to everybody, hey, and he's had his issues in the past with substance abuse and stuff like that, but hey, I can be reliable here. Like week to week, they can count on me for storylines. I think it's a good move for him. He probably got kind of lumped in there with being Enzio's boy. So all the crap that Enzio did, they kind of lumped in with that. He gets heat for that, heat by association. Yeah. So good for Kaz XL, man, or W Morrissey, whatever he is. Hope it works out for him too. You just passed up your boys, your figureheads. Talk about Matt Cordova, formerly known as Zack Ryder, against his boy Brandon Myers. Real quick.
This is coming from a guy that listens to their podcast on the regular. That match was trash, bro. It was trash. For two guys that are smarks of the business. I mean, like
fans of it.
Yeah, we like true fans.
It's in the good, it's in the bad.
Yeah. Go and put that match together. Dude, that thing was a snore fest. There was, if they want to say, oh, but did you see we really paid off with the story with him that supposedly got hurt, and then, dude, it was a trash of a match, and it's my fault. I'm not even gonna blame them. It's my fault for even thinking that they would bring it when they finally get to wrestle each other. My fault. That's on me, dog. I should have known better than to think that these guys can perform a good match together.
But they know their figures, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's it for round number 3. Impact Rebellion. Overall, pay-per-view out of the Meltzer 5 stars. The pay-per-view as a whole, how many stars do you give it?
It's a 3. I think it was there's too much matches that seem like you could see them in Impact, and there wasn't. I felt very rushed in the pay-per-view. I feel like I didn't really get to really chew it.
I give it 3.5, most because the main event and co-main event, the women's knockout.
Oh, that was a good match, yeah.
Very good match as well. Even the tag team bout was really good.
Honestly,
it was the knockouts. It was the knockouts tag team, knockouts world champion, and the world Kenny Omega and Rich Swann.
That saved the
pay-per-view for me.
100%.
So I recommend you guys go on Fight TV, watch the replay, watch history being made here. We'll talk about what's going to be next for the business and Kenny Omega in the later rounds here. We got 2 more rounds coming up. Don't go anywhere. That's coming up next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number 4. I hate to say we're doing it, but we're doing it because somebody gave this dude seats, floor seats at UFC 261. And we're talking about Jake Paul. Was in attendance UFC 261 on Saturday.
Yep.
Obviously, he's coming off the knockout win of Ben Askren. A lot of MMA people in the community, fighters, have been sticking up for Ben Askren, saying Jake Paul's not real or he's going to fight something else, and so on and so forth. Turns out, one of the guys who was most vocal about it was DC, Daniel Cormier. But Daniel Cormier wasn't saying, hey, I don't want to fight this dude. This is who we should fight next. What does Jake Paul do on Saturday? Somehow they cross paths and they confront each other. It went viral. They were jaw-jacking one another. Daniel Cormier was pointing the finger at him. I don't know what was said. I
have not seen the transcripts of it.
All I know is Jake Paul looked very scared. And
he should be.
He was very happy that there was a guardrail between him and Daniel Cormier. He's not going up for Dan Cormier next, is he? For his next opponent?
Dude, first of all, there is no way DC's boxing. I, however, do think if Jake's dumb enough to agree, I think DC will bless him in his presence in the MMA octagon.
Not going to happen.
I know it's not going to happen, but I think there's a bigger chance of seeing an MMA fight than a boxing.
Not going to happen.
Because DC is not going to waste his time drilling boxing drills when my boy can just be eating the good life.
Yeah.
But real quick, one of the benefits you get when you become like a real like hardcore MMA fans is that you know who is like a legit guy. So if someone were not know who DC was and you disrespect that man in the streets, man, you might be risking 9 feet in the ground, because DC is not one guy you want to disrespect. And I think it's funny because at one point I felt like Randy Couture kind of was not the headpiece, but like the guy that kind of like was the leader of MMA,
the Godfather.
Yeah, and when things need to be done or checked, it was Randy Couture that did it. And sometimes I feel like DC now has that role. He's the Undertaker of MMA,
the backbone.
Yeah,
the leader, the locker room leader.
Exactly.
Right?
And so if there was any guy to check him, it was that guy.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, if Jake put hands on DC, first of all, DC can't handle his own. But like I said, he's like the Undertaker. No one puts hands on the Undertaker unless told to, So even if he could have 50 guys there, those 50 guys are in big trouble if he touched DC.
Yeah. I do have to give credit to Jake Paul's fight booker or management or whatever, or whoever his promoter is. Granted, okay, you came off a win of Ben Askren, who is a former MMA champion, but hardcore MMA fans know that he's probably one of the worst strikers, boxers in the history of the sport, right?
Yeah.
So you nullify that by making it a striking-only competition, right? Hardcore MMA fans know that DC's not known for his striking. He's an Olympic wrestler, can take you down, ground and pound you for days, right? You don't do that in boxing. So Jake Paul and his management team are really smart in picking their opponents. We're going to pick MMA fighters who, to the common fan, knows, he's an MMA champion. He must be a badass, right? But you and I know, people listening to this podcast know, well, if you're going to pick a striker, you're not going to pick DC to represent you, right? You're going to pick a Robbie Lawler, a Cowboy Cerrone, a Carlos Condit, Izzy,
who did kickboxing,
Francis Ngannou, Anderson Silva, these
who
guys
does murder,
who what I mean, who are strikers first and then incorporated their skills in mixed martial arts. Not a wrestler first who then learned a cheetah. What I mean?
I would even say Dan Hardy would have been a better pick than Ben Askren.
Yeah,
because and they're in the same. Ben Askren and Dan Hardy in the same boat. Guys that had been laid off a long time. Dan Hardy was known as a striker, though. So to me, that was
Tyron Woodley.
Yeah, or Tyron Woodley. But you don't want none of Woodley, dog. You don't want none of that.
He doesn't want
but I thought the first thing I thought was like, dude. But then again, as long as it was a striker first, it would have meant more.
Yeah.
So it's laughable that you're trying to claim a clean victory off of Ben Askren, which. At the same time, it's like I could care less what Ben says. At the end of the day, like everything I saw, I don't even think Ben Askren really put 100% into this fight, anyways.
Yeah, it's whatever Jake Paul's doing. His game plan for his boxing career is very shallow and very hollow. Just like anybody on YouTube or any influencer like that, it's all hollow on the inside. So we'll take it for what it's worth. Hopefully, like I said, Ben Askren got paid a lot of money. Whoever he fights next, if it's a legit fighter, we'll
I hope it's a boxer.
If not, if it's going to be DC or somebody else, get your payday and get out.
I'm just like, let's put this to rest. Put him against a pro boxer and let's see what's up.
Triller Fight Club, it's all shallow. It's all hollow. Just much like most of social media anyway. So that's it for round number 4. We got one more round coming up. We're going to continue our conversation on Kenny Omega's win at Impact Rebellion, what it means on the big scale of things for the business, Albert. Don't go anywhere. It's coming up next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for the 5th and final round. We're going to go talk about what it means for the business now that Kenny Omega is the AEW AAA and Impact World Champions. Albert, we kept talking about it. This is like the Thanos, right? He has the Infinity Stones. What he's going for is basically to become every world, to obtain the championship, the world championship, heavyweight championship for every organization outside of WWE.
Yeah.
Right? He has 3 already. He's well on his way.
Yep.
What does it mean for the business, this win, and what he's trying to do?
It means they're open for business. Because I honestly think, just like Thanos, it's inevitable that WWE does not get in the mix.
Does not work with them.
There is too much money to be made not for WWE to entice something with Kenny Omega.
So basically, real quick, ever since the territory system was demolished by Vince McMahon, the WWE, it's been every promotion for themselves, right?
Yeah.
We're not gonna work with you. We're not gonna share talent. We're not even gonna say your name on our broadcast, right? It's been that way, and it got heated during the WCW wars. We're gonna steal your talent. Our talent is exclusive to our show. Like hell, if we even answer the phone call when you're calling us, right?
Yeah.
Worst thing we do is WWE, we're going to buy you up afterwards if you feel like it, right? We're going to poach your talent. Still to this very day, they still do it, right? AEW comes along. Well, even with the past 10, 15 years, we see these guys hopping around from Ring of Honor to Japan to PWG. They're all working together. And because of the internet, because of social media, we're seeing where they're going. Yeah. We're seeing these relationships be built. Now that there's another organization on the national scale, All Elite Wrestling, these guys still have this relationship with these bookers they worked with before. Impact, New Japan, Ring of Honor. So there's an opportunity that these wrestlers have made these
and kept good relationships.
So it's not so much Tony Khan working with that or Scott D'Amore. It's Kenny Omega going out there working for himself, right?
And then before we get back to the whole Kenny thing, I'm glad that you brought up the whole WCW thing where they didn't want to work together. But I think that's the other reason why I think WWE is going to eventually open up for business, because I know for a fact that it had to cross their mind. If they would have ever had to put Stone Cold versus Goldberg at their height, bro, I think they would have done Super Bowl numbers. Yeah. Remember how hot that was? Dude, they would have made bunch of money. It would have been ridiculous if they somehow could agree and have Goldberg versus Stone Cold.
Okay, but here's to your point why that never happened before. I'm going to take my top star Goldberg and my top star Stone Cold. Yeah. We all know wrestling's predetermined, right?
Yep. Who wins? Yeah, it's a tough one.
That's the tough thing. And that's why Sunday at Rebellion was such a big moment in professional wrestling, because you had AEW with their top guy and then Impact, who was their top guy, Rich Swann, and they came to agreement that Kenny Omega needs a win because it's good for business.
The business, yeah.
That working relationship has never been seen before in professional wrestling for organizations, right? I think we saw that like the NWA and AWA tried doing it, but they couldn't decide on having either, like, I think it was like Jerry Lawler or Kerry Von Erich win. So it's always some kind of bullcrap finish and nobody's really happy with the event. But if Kenny Omega can say, hey, just trust me what I'm doing, Ring of Honor, trust me, MLW, trust me, New Japan, I'm not going to come and tarnish your organization.
No. If anything, I'm raising it.
Yeah,
the stock has increased big time.
So do you see that happen? Do you see like these other promotions playing along basically?
I do, just because it's so like, dude, I can't even think of a disadvantage for not. So it's a known thing that New Japan has always wanted to get their feet wet here in America. They always want in America. I mean, that's what they've been. If you look at the last 5 years, they're trying to tailor a lot of stuff to come here to the American market. And I don't blame them. I mean, it's about time New Japan is a staple. But how do you do it? You bring in AEW and just sell out a thing and then, get more eyes on the product. Like, I don't see a negative Kenny Omega with New Japan. And on top of that, come on, the Japanese people love Kenny Omega. So for them to even deny that their own audience in their own hometown would not be pumped to see Kenny back, it's ridiculous. Everybody knows that. So right now, it's a win-win for everybody. The hard part is when, let's say, we get there, he wins with New Japan. What does it, other than ratings, like Roman losing, how does it help WWE, like you said? That's the tough part. That's why I think NXT might get involved. and we never see like the main roster get involved.
You're not going to see Kenny Omega versus Roman Reigns versus Drew
I don't think
McIntyre
so.
versus Bobby Lashley.
If
anything, it might be NXT getting involved in this.
Yeah.
So what will it take for Triple H has said WWE's always open for business,
Yeah.
and this is coming off Chris Jericho going on Stone Cold's podcast as an AEW contract wrestler. But granted, Stone Cold's not a WWE wrestler, but still,
you got to get your foot in the door somehow, though.
Triple H said we're going along here again, but we have to. Sorry, that WWE's always open for business. Maybe NXT more so than WWE as a whole. Raw,
and again,
SmackDown.
I go back to the fact of like you got to think of how it's going to benefit me.
Yeah.
If Triple H can guarantee to Vince, we will do WrestleMania numbers
on NXT level.
On NXT level, like we don't even have to touch our product. Just NXT level, we'll bring WrestleMania numbers if we get into this thing.
They've done
I
it
think
before.
that alone is a sell.
NXT's done it before. They brought in Jushin Thunder Liger for one time. Remember, they brought in Eric Young without a contract. They brought these guys, Cowboy James Storm,
Ibushi came in the tournament.
Will Ospreay. So they've reached out to these. They've proved that they've done it before. They could do it again.
Yeah.
Real quick, I know we're going along here, but what championship would it take for him to win, Kenny Omega to win before NXT? Okay, we can't ignore it anymore. Would it be the Ring of Honor one, MLW, New Japan?
It has to be New Japan.
If he wins New Japan, then you can't. Ignore
at that point.
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable. Thanos has all five diamonds. You cannot ignore him no more. Because if he snaps and you're not there, you about to lose ratings, bro.
What a time to be a wrestling mark like us. Oh my gosh, look at that. Somebody's on Twitter with the Roman gif, if you guys can see it on our screen here. I like it, man. I want to see Roman versus the big dog versus Kenny Omega.
That won't happen.
Yeah, I do see it.
I wish, but I don't see that one.
If anything, put this NXT strap on Finn Balor and then have them work together. But it's crazy to see these promotions work together. If you guys know anything about professional wrestling history, this does not happen at all. That's why it's an exciting moment. That's it for this week's show. We had a lot to talk about here. History in the making. MMA, pro wrestling, what a time to be a fan. That's all I can say here. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to keep up to date with us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. All of our handles are at FiveRoundMMA. It's FIVE Round MMA. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for our YouTube channel. If you like your podcast audio-wise, we're on Podomatic, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're available here. Again, thank you all for tuning in here. We had a watch party for Impact Rebellion. The next one, preliminary plans are going to be AEW's Double or Nothing. Might be a co-promotion with the Dos Leprechauns here. We're kind of figuring out the logistics of that one. But keep an eye out for our social media for the announcement on that one. Albert, what do you got, man?
I just want to say I'm loving these watch parties. I hope more people start tuning in with us. I love interacting with thousands of people talking smack, not agreeing. I like it all, man. I just like interaction alone. And the fact that my gem is I get to open up one of my figures every single time we do this. If we do the Dos Leprechauns one, I'm going to open up the Young Bucks because it's a co-promotion. So you need 2 figures open. So I'm just pumped. I'm just opening up my figures too at these watch parties.
All right, man. We'll see everybody next week. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in.